Hello and welcome to this episode of Break Panel Sports. I'm John, joined alongside Joel here for this one, and we have a good one. Big trades with wide receivers, and the Dallas Cowboys are bad at football. Not your usual one, but also somewhat your usual one. Joel, how we doing?
Doing good. I would say we're doing as well as Davante Adams is. I know they've been pushing. Let's be real. They've been pushing for this for a while. I want to say since Rodgers got to New York, we always kind of
Yeah,
figured that a trade like this would happen eventually. Now it finally happened, and it's been like a year or something like
yeah.
that.
It didn't take as long as we probably thought this reunion between Davante Adams and
Yeah,
Aaron Rodgers would be. Garrett Wilson just won me a fantasy league, not a league, not we're not even close to that yet, but a week.
the matchup.
The matchup won me a
Yeah,
matchup by 1 point.
let's
So
go.
he must be I guess if there was a time for his production to drop off, it was probably after that. But we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about if Garrett Wilson's production will even drop off at all, maybe even improve with this Davante Adams signing. But Joel, let's get right into it. Obviously, we've kind of talked about it. We've previewed it a little bit. Davante Adams has been traded to the New York Jets, a conditional third-round pick that can become a second-round pick if he is a first or second-team All-Pro or is on the roster for the AFC Championship game or Super Bowl.
Right.
So potentially could become a second-round pick. If we know anything about the Jets, it probably won't. But also knowing the Jets, they would make the AFC Championship game, lose the AFC Championship game, and then the pick would become a second for no reason. So who knows what'll happen with that pick? But as of now, it's a third-round pick, and the New York
Yeah.
Jets are ready to just go all in. When we talked about, I think last time we talked about the Jets need to go all in. If you can go get guys, go get guys, get your roster, get your guys, go figure it out, get it done. And who knows how long Aaron Rodgers has left, so why not go get arguably the best route runner in the NFL? If anything, he's there for Garrett Wilson to develop as well. So, Joel, your thoughts on Davante Adams, this trade, the New York Jets? Some Jets fans are unhappy about it. I think it's a good move personally, but we'll talk about it.
I like the move. Listen, when you trade for a potential all-pro wide receiver, no one's gonna be complaining about it. Okay, let's be real. Like, that's a great move for the Jets. The thing that I don't like about it is I feel like you're addressing the wrong thing here. Because let's be real, Mike Williams, I understand he had that wrong route. He ran one wrong route, and it was okay. We got to go trade for a receiver. It's like okay, you're overreacting a little bit here. Like all three receivers, they've been playing okay. Lazard has been playing very good. Wilson has been playing very good. Okay, like he got his guys. I just don't see why having another mouth to feed in this offense is really going to improve all that much. I don't think the weapons were the problem. The offensive line has been the only problem in this offense. The offensive line has been terrible. Aaron Rodgers is getting put on his ass almost every play. It's ridiculous. And when you see him get up, you look at him and you're like, he just looks old. Okay, like he just looks old. And we were watching the game together, and I remember like after every hit, we were just kind of like holding our breath. Like,
Yeah.
is he okay? Is he good? Is he okay? Okay, good. He's okay. It's like we should not have to be doing that after every hit this guy takes, but he's taking a lot of hits, and it's ridiculous to me. So, yeah, I'm sorry. Listen, I like the move. I think Davante Adams and Aaron Rodgers are gonna make magic again. I just don't see how this improves the Jets team as a whole. It doesn't make any sense for me to trade for Davante Adams if you're getting put on your ass within 3 seconds. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
It's
yeah, good.
it's tough to build an offensive line in week 5 in the trade market. There are Jets fans that are actually saying, why did we do this trade at all? Right? I mean, sure, it's a third round pick, it's useful, but again, there's not a lot of offensive linemen just out there, right, that teams are just willing to get rid of. So you're kind of stuck in this offensive lineless situation with a quarterback who's 40 years old. His age starts with a 4. Quarterbacks don't really play too deep into their
Yeah.
40s. Neither do any athletes. So the best thing you can do is at least give him a receiver that, well, okay, this guy can run a route quicker than 95% of players in NFL history can. Maybe I don't need as much blocking if I have Davante Adams. I don't need to take so long to get the ball out if I know that this guy's going to be open. If I know 17 is going to be open every time. So there's that aspect to it. Of course, obviously, the Jets would love to have an offensive line. They'd love to maybe have some improved secondary play and go get one of those guys. But the market's just not there for it. Offensive linemen are so much tougher to come by than receivers at this point in the NFL's existence. So, sure, yes, I can sit here and I can say the Jets should go get an offensive lineman, but I can also say I need to go get $1 million right now.
Right.
And I can't do that off the snap of my finger.
We would
Like
love
the
to
Jets
have.
can.
So we would love to
But
have a million.
but if I can go, snap of a finger, I can go get 25 grand. I think I'd go do that.
I think yeah.
And the Jets just got that in Davante Adams. So that's kind of where that one's at.
You mentioned before like the production of Garrett Wilson and if that's gonna drop off. So as you know, I am a Garrett Wilson dynasty fantasy football owner.
Yeah,
So
same.
I, I saw this move, and to be honest with you, like I see like how they have the projected points. It went down a little bit,
Yeah.
but I saw it and I was just kind of like, I don't see how his production goes down. Me personally, I don't see it because what I saw was okay, he was struggling and then starting to figure it out when he was facing corner ones, facing the best corners in the game. Now Davante's getting those guys and he's going to be against corner twos. He's going to be like, I guess he really should be in the slot. I think that's where he should be. And I look at Garrett Wilson, I'm like, you know what? I don't see how this hurts him at all. I actually think he might get even more production now because I think Garrett Wilson's going to be one of the only guys that are open on this offense. So I like it for Garrett Wilson. I felt like this trade actually boosts his stock more than it actually hurt his stock.
Even just as a player, right? You look at guys like Jordan Addison who are able to shine as young players because they're not going against the top corners in the league every week.
Right.
It was like the one I always point to in terms of you talk about fantasy. The one I always point to is Deontay Johnson when the Steelers had Antonio Brown. We
Right.
know who Deontay Johnson is now, right? He's had some tough years, especially after Antonio Brown left. And I'm not saying Garrett Wilson's Deontay Johnson. He's much better than he was even at that time. But we all said Deontay Johnson is this great receiver, and he gets big money because he's getting all this production as a wide receiver too. And he's a guy that didn't really shine in a wide receiver one role. But you see guys like that when you have such a star receiver next to you on the outside, getting all the attention, getting double teams even. Safeties are looking at that guy, not you. You can produce. So I think Garrett Wilson, his reception numbers may go down, but his touchdown numbers are definitely going to go up because in the red zone, you got to worry about 17 running the quickest out you've ever seen in your life, being a beast on fade routes. And Garrett is kind of an afterthought. Also, Allen Lazard, I wonder where his role kind of goes because for the Jets, when the Jets needed a big play, I mean, they were going to Allen Lazard. If Allen Lazard doesn't do a weapons celebration in the Denver game, they win that game. Right? He had a big
Yeah.
catch all the way down the sideline. They were in the red zone, and he does that celebration. They probably win that game. They probably go
I
score a touchdown, win that game.
I don't think much really changed with Allen Lazard. I think the question is not even focused on Lazard. What happens to Mike Williams?
Yeah.
That's the one that I'm looking at because Mike Williams, once you trade for a receiver, now you're all of a sudden you're the wide receiver 4, and you know that you're good enough to be a 2. Yeah, I would explore. I would ask for a trade, and the Jets should want to trade him. So I don't think the Jets are done when it comes to these wide receiver trades. I think they're gonna end up trading Mike Williams. I don't know where to, but I think a move for him is definitely gonna be happening soon because it's not even like, oh, he can improve. No, you're out of the lineup. That's what this move says. We've moved on. We found somebody that could actually run the right route, So
Yeah.
I don't view Mike Williams as part of this offense anymore. I strictly view him as a trade piece that's just waiting to happen.
Or teams run plenty of receivers. They need receiver depth as a team. I think Mike Williams, look at a guy who's had injury history throughout his career, who's had these problems, will have, I guess, less of a role, but will be able to have this role on a winning team at this point in his career.
I'm about to say trade him to like Carolina or something.
I think he's fine on the Jets. He'll get on the field. This Jets team is going to run 4 receivers. They're going to run 5 out every now and then. He's going to get time. He's going to get plays. It won't be as much as it was, but he's going to get on the field. But if they do want to trade him, he's a good receiver. He's got good value. But then, okay, who is our 4 at that point? If you're the Jets, they need a deep receiving core for an old quarterback. I think if you're Mike Williams, you play the year out with Aaron Rodgers. Then maybe next offseason you explore a contract if you get some big plays and big catches for the Jets and Aaron Rodgers. But their defense, I think we watched that game. This Jets secondary needs improvement. Linebacker core was not as ready to go. This Jets defense, to me, is starting to become a concern. They get to the passer, they get to the quarterback, but they have not been playing super sound.
There's only one word that I've got to say to penalties.
Yeah.
Penalties.
Consistent penalties.
What's going on? Like I understand firing Robert Saleh Maybe, there's some confusion. Maybe there's some, I don't know what it is, but oh my, I think we saw a stat where it was like there was like 110 yards for the Jets on
Yeah, at that point in the game.
strictly penalty. That is ridiculous. There might have
Yeah,
been
it was
more.
nuts.
There honestly might have been more, but that was just ridiculous. That's embarrassing, honestly.
Yeah,
I
they've got to button up.
You cut half those penalties away, they they win the game. They
Right.
do win that game. It's ridiculous to me.
The Jets are close to having 4 or 5 wins at this point.
Yeah, they could. Yeah.
They could. And you lose a tough one to Buffalo. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers has a Hail Mary. That's why the game is a lot closer than maybe it could have been.
They could have
But
beat Minnesota.
they could have beat, yeah, they could have. They had a very good chance in that game. Sauce Gardner has not been playing well as of late. So for the Jets, they've got a lot to figure out. They're still in a good position in terms of just record and wins and losses. They're fine. The Patriots and the Dolphins aren't really threats in the AFC East at this point. It's just Buffalo.
No.
It's just Buffalo. There's more games. There's another Buffalo game to be played. And we know Buffalo. Transitioning to them, actually. The Buffalo Bills. They saw this move and said, okay, we got to do something. The Cleveland Browns, who have been an abject disaster this season, and it's really looking like the Browns of old now. They have decided to kind of cut their losses and nip this in the bud and just try to get something for the future. They have Amari Cooper. He's a really good receiver. He's not getting any targets because Deshaun Watson's not good at football anymore, as far as we can tell. And he gets traded to the Buffalo Bills for a future third rounder and a seventh rounder. The Bills also end up releasing Marquez Valdez-Scantling in this move. So maybe you look at Mike Williams could be next up on that chopping block for the Jets. But Amari Cooper got 24 catches, 250 yards on 53 targets this season. He's a guy that can have better numbers than that if he had a better quarterback. And oh, wow, let's give him Josh Allen. This Buffalo Bills team, offensively, you have Shakir, you have good weapons. Curtis Samuel hasn't played bad at all. But after losing Stephon Diggs, you trade Stephon Diggs, you get rid of Stephon Diggs, you lose Stephon Diggs. However it happened. You need that receiver. You need that X guy. And Amari Cooper, he's not Davante Adams, but at this point in both of their
He's pretty
careers,
close.
he's pretty close. He's about as
He's
close as
pretty
you can get on
close.
the trade market. And the one thing about this, Joel, is Amari Cooper, I don't remember him requesting a trade. That maybe I missed that. I don't remember him being a
No.
trade discussion. We never really thought of the Browns trading Amari Cooper. But obviously you got to make a move after your rival goes and gets a receiver.
Maybe it's because I covered a lot of Amari Cooper just to like see like where he could go, where like what the market was for him. He was never sticking around in Cleveland. I'm sorry, he was never sticking around. That's a whole nother story. Deshaun Watson has been terrible, but looking at Buffalo side, I love this move. I love this move a lot. I told you before we started recording that I actually like this move better than the Davante Adams move.
Yeah.
I love this move for Buffalo because you're going from Deshaun Watson, who has been a bottom tier quarterback, literally has been worse than backups in this league. And you're going from him to Josh Allen, a top 3 quarterback in the league. Are you kidding me? Like, listen, I love Khalil Shakir. I love Khalil Shakir. He's a great weapon. He can't be your wide receiver one. I think we know that. He can't be. I like him. I think he's a cool gadget guy. I think he's, fun to watch. He's not a wide receiver one. He's not that X. He's not that Amari Cooper level type of player. He's just not. So getting that move to replace a Stephon Diggs, I do like the fact that they did this move immediately after the Jets traded for Davante Adams. I love that. I just love that because they probably were thinking about let's wait till the deadline, let's wait till the trade deadline or something like that. And then they see this move and they're like, okay, we got to do this now. We got to do this now. Like our division just got better. Like, no, screw that. We're now getting our weapon because if teams are doing it now, we got to make a move now. So I like it for the Bills. I like it for Josh Allen. I like it for Amari Cooper. I think his production is going to go way up. One of the things that I did see that was a bit concerning was I don't know how true this is now, after week 6, but he was leading the league in drops, Amari Cooper, which I don't know necessarily if that's because of bad balls that are being thrown his way from Deshaun Watson. That could be, I'm not saying it's not, it could be, but that is a bit concerning. but I do think it's going to be a lot better with Josh Allen as his quarterback.
I think, yeah. If when you look at quarterbacks like Deshaun Watson, you look at receivers, Amari Cooper, and if I have to make a connection between drops and a great receiver like Amari Cooper, some of the better hands in the league, I'm gonna be fine blaming Deshaun Watson for that.
Yeah,
That's
so would
fine.
I.
I agree. Khalil Shakir is not a wide receiver one on a championship winning team, and the Bills are in championship mode. They want to win a championship every single year when you have Josh Allen. So I like it for everybody involved. But
Yeah,
the thing is, there's a factor that I think not a lot of people are talking about. We can talk all day about how good this is for Buffalo, how Amari Cooper has been freed, right? Joel, this Browns team was in a playoff game last year. This
they
Browns
are
team was a Super Bowl contender,
they are
believe it or not, a couple
awful.
years ago. Baker Mayfield had this. If there is an unnecessary offense call against the Chiefs, the Browns were in the AFC Championship at one point, not too long ago, right? They were that close.
They are awful,
Right. They're
John.
awful. They're
They
awful.
are
They're
awful.
not oh, they're falling off.
There
It's
is
not
there's not a thing on this team that I like. There's nothing on
not
this team
a
that I like.
soul besides Miles Garrett. This
I
defense is still solid. I still like the defense.
I hate everything on this team. I literally like I have seen first of all, like I thought Greg Newsom was one of the best corners and then he fell off. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I'm watching this guy play. He
Right.
fell off.
Secondary's been a problem.
Secondary's been a huge problem. Everyone hypes up Denzel Ward. I see him getting cooked all the time. I am watching this team crumble before my eyes. And it literally like I understand Miles Garrett. He's amazing. Sometimes when I watch these games, I wonder like, does his impact really have anything on this team? Because like I'm watching this, I'm like, I'm not really seeing him. I'm not really seeing anybody. That's the only and
Yeah.
then they try to hype you up saying that, oh, Nick Chubb's coming back. Don't worry, Nick Chubb's coming back. Fantastic. The guy who got his leg literally crushed is coming back. Amazing. I'm that's no shade on Nick Chubb. It's just this team is just so far deep into just trash. I can't say what I really want to say, but it's just it's just sad that it's sad for Kevin Stefanski because we know just how good of a coach he is. Okay, how great of a he's a two-time coach of the year. Okay,
Yeah.
Y- you see how well Joe Flacco was playing over there, and how like he won comeback player of the year. They got them to the playoffs, and
He looks good right
the,
now in Indy.
he, Stefanski is forced to play Deshaun Watson. He's forced to play him. And there was one play that I saw against Washington. I'm sure you saw it where they were down by like 2 scores or something like that, and it was fourth down. It was like fourth and like three. It was fourth and short, and Kevin Stefanski was working on a play to try to go for it, and Deshaun Watson's already walking off the field.
Yep.
He's giving up. He gave up on his team. He has zero. That is not Houston Deshaun Watson right there. Houston Deshaun Watson would have never done that. He'd be going for it. You know what I mean?
Right. He
And
was the gunslinger.
come on, he was the closest thing to Patrick Mahomes. He was up there with him as far as like how good he was as a quarterback. And
Right.
now it's the fall off needs to be studied. It's been terrible for Cleveland. And from this Amari Cooper trade, they get what did they even get? What did they get? They get
Third
like
round
like
pick and a seventh round pick.
great, awesome. Sure. I First, and here's the other thing too that they try to really hype up. I remember this. Remember when they traded for Jerry Judy, and then they signed
Yes.
him to that mega like extension. Like, yeah, Jerry Judy, he's our guy.
By his
Is
standards, yes.
I can't even tell you like if he's done anything in Cleveland. I really can't because I'm like
He's just yelled at Steve Smith.
great. Yeah, that's the most I've ever seen like any type of hype around Jerry Judy was when Steve Smith called him out, calling him just a guy.
Yeah.
You know, like yeah, you're nothing, man. You're really nothing.
He's
You're
just a
nothing
guy right
impactful.
now.
You're just a guy. And Cleveland gave you all this money, and guess what? You're still just a guy. Like this team is falling off a cliff right now. I am not sure where Cleveland goes from here, especially with this trade. Like I I suppose, yeah, you're in rebuild mode for like the 27th time in like 10 years. It's ridiculous
Yeah.
to me. It's insane.
I just want to point to something.
Yes.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers put up 51 points on Sunday.
Yes.
And we know who the quarterback of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers is. We
The
know
the
what the
former
Cleveland Browns did to get rid of said quarterback. They gave up 3 first-round picks and paid a guy 200 something million dollars in guaranteed money. And those players actually became pretty good. Those
I
3
I know we're
first-round picks.
I know it's fantasy football, but did you know that Baker Mayfield is the number 2 quarterback in
Yes.
fantasy football? He's number 2.
Yes.
Like
And in terms
I
of
think
just
he was number 1 at one point, but yeah,
right. And that, I mean, he's got a couple rushing touch. He looks like a great quarterback, a phenomenal quarterback. And if you want to go just regular statistics, he's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He's the 8th leading passing yards leader in the NFL. He's got 15 touchdowns on the year. He's leading the league in touchdowns. Um, and I don't think he does all this in Cleveland because that franchise is a mess and ruins quarterbacks left and right. But you look at how good Cleveland was. I mean, yes, we can look at a curse with a jersey on it because the Cleveland Browns just are that franchise. But again, we saw that Browns team, and the Browns themselves took what they had for granted. They said we could just get this star quarterback, pay him all this money. Even at the time, it was still such a questionable move because we all know what was going on when you mentioned the name Deshaun Watson. It had nothing to do with football.
they saw that news and gave him a 5-year fully guaranteed
Yes.
max contract.
Not a single penny was non-guaranteed.
That should say something about the ownership there. That should
Right.
say something about the people in that front office. Because here's the thing: everyone wants to blame the owner, and don't get me. I'm not blaming the owner. I'm saying there's no way that everyone in that front office all had this discussion and said, "Yeah, we're gonna do this." There's no
Right.
way you said that.
Oh
There's
no,
no way,
no, no.
and not even a
The
discussion.
Haslam need to sell the team tomorrow. They need after this. What's going on right now? They need to sell the team tomorrow. I do not care anymore. It was the most. First off, it was the most disgusting trade in NFL history. The most
Here, here,
disgusting move in the history of the National Football League.
here's the other thing too. Like let's just say, they finally come to the realization of like, okay, we have to get rid of Deshaun Watson. We have to get rid of him.
But
We
you
have to trade him.
can't.
What
You
if you
can't.
do if you do that, they would lose. I looked this up. They would lose around $72 million just in dead money.
Right.
Like just dead. Like
Just the dead money.
you can't do like it, oh my god, that is so it's and they did it to and the best part is it's not like this just like randomly happened where it's like, oh, how did they get to you did this to yourself.
Right.
Nobody told you to get rid of Baker Mayfield. Nobody told you to go sign Deshaun Watson. Nobody told you to do anything like that. You did that.
Baker
It's
was
ridiculous.
beloved in Cleveland. He was a loved Cleveland quarterback. Browns fans, sure, he made his mistakes. He wasn't the perfect quarterback, right? But the fans wanted to keep him. I don't think there was a Browns fan that saw that move, that saw the Browns are getting rid of Baker Mayfield, and said, "Wow, that was the best move he could have did for our franchise." To getting Deshaun Watson again, and it's not like Deshaun Watson. The problems that we are referring to, it's not like that happened after this move happened. Joel, it wasn't even close to being completed. It was ongoing. And this Browns team said, "You know what? We're going to give this guy all the money in the world." Just for that concept alone, outside of football, you have to sell the team, and now your team's 1-5 and stinks. So, one owner that needs to sell his team, the Cleveland Browns. Where do you go from here? You can't do anything. You are headlocked for years on end with
Cleveland
this Deshaun Watson situation. You're done. You're done. I trade everybody. I don't know what you have to just roll out Deshaun Watson and put him in, basically just have him. You can't get rid of Deshaun Watson, but you can probably figure out a way to get rid of Myles Garrett at this point.
Do you remember how bad the Cleveland Browns were before Baker Mayfield got
Oh,
there?
we know how bad
Like
they were.
how
This
bad
team
like
didn't win a game this team
they,
didn't win a
they
game one year.
they didn't win a single game. I I am honestly looking at this. I'm like, I feel like they were in a much better situation back then with Josh Gordon, Deshaun Kai. I feel like they were in a much better situation then than they are now.
When they didn't win a
Because
game, they were in a better situation than
when
what
they
the
didn't win a
Browns were.
game, I thought they were in a much better situation because it's like, okay, you still have the draft picks. You could
Right.
still go get guys. Okay, you could still it's not like you're in cap hell. You could still get guys. They can't do anything with this
Yeah.
Deshaun Watson. They can't do anything. They are stuck with him. Their offensive line is injured beyond repair at this point, and they can't fix it. They really can't. And they think, they got to go on a fire sale. And you know what? You're right. I honestly believe that you should explore trading Miles Garrett. You should explore that.
If it's possible, I don't know the money
It,
situation behind it, but whatever you can trade, you have to go get draft picks now.
like
You're
if
done.
okay, I don't know if it'd be them, but like if a team like Detroit, after just losing Aiden Hutchinson,
Yeah.
or just any team like looking to add an edge rusher for a playoff push, if they went up to Cleveland and said, "Hey, we'll give you a first and a third for Miles Garrett," take the deal, take the
Yeah.
deal, save some money, get a first round pick, go get another quarterback, go get something, man. You gotta fix this team because this is absolutely ridiculous. And what's worse is that they're not even the only team that I really feel this way about. It's insane.
It's just tough. It's just tough to watch. Especially because when the Browns are good, when the Browns got good again, I feel like the entire NFL was rooting for them. Was rooting for this
Yeah.
cursed franchise that just could not find a way to win. Seemed like they did a lot of things right. Just quarterback after quarterback after quarterback. Just finally had it. Finally had it. They were the guy that his entire life was really hoping that they could get a girlfriend, right?
Uh,
They could find a way, just get, oh my goodness, I'm finally in this situation. And then they see just what looks like the biggest supermodel in the world, and they have this great girlfriend, and they're like, you know what, I'm going over there now. And then turns out it doesn't work out, and now you're just stuck. You're just
you're
stuck in the most
stuck.
unhappy thing in the world. Meanwhile, whoever that girlfriend that you had that you should have appreciated, she's living her life, right? She's living her
Yeah.
life. That's the Cleveland Browns. They
In
got
Tampa,
it.
Florida,
Everything
specifically.
in Tampa, Florida, in the sunny Florida, no state income tax. It's going great. They had everything they could have ever wanted. Everything Browns fans had been asking for the past 25 years. They got it. And I'm not just talking about a quarterback because I'm a Baker fan. They had a team. They had a team, draft picks for the future. They were drafting well every single year. And they said, no, we're going to go trade for Deshaun Watson. We can do better than this. Forget winning our first playoff game in over a decade and a half, 2 decades, whatever it was. Right? We have a team for that. Sure, we go 8-9 one year, right? We're still building a team. We have a coach of the year. And now you're just forced to sit there and live the definition of insanity every single Sunday. Right? I don't know if you've seen the John Fanta videos. Big broadcaster for college basketball. Every Brown Sunday, he's recording a video of him talking about the Cleveland Browns. They're very funny if you haven't checked them out yet.
I have to check those out.
He's a good guy. He's a good guy too. Seton Hall guy. But he's just kind of embodied what Browns fans are thinking. He's let it out. He's let it out. This is a play-by-play broadcaster letting it out and really talking about the disaster. He's been calling for Deshaun Watson to get out of there since he got there, really. So the Browns are a mess. Again, but they had it. They had a chance.
They
They had a
did.
chance. They could have been good for a decade. But they said, no, we're going to go make the most disgusting move in the history of the National Football League.
It's ridiculous to me. It's
Where they're at.
it's beyond repair at this point.
Right. Exactly. And now for another franchise that may also be beyond repair. The Dallas Cowboys is who we're referring to. 47-9 is your final score. The Detroit Lions look like the best team of the NFL. First off,
Embarrassing.
before we break anything down with this game, Aiden Hutchinson, a gruesome injury.
Yeah, that was
We are hoping nothing but the best in terms of his recovery. But it's just one of those injuries. If you are squeamish, do not watch that. It reminded me of those UFC injuries and on leg kicks, and it just was not fun. Just figured send our thoughts up to Aiden Hutchinson. They got him quick. I mean, that was a great job by the medical team. It seemed immediately that guy got surgery. The game was still going on. His surgery.
I think I texted you or I called. I forgot what it was, but
Yeah,
literally like I don't know, an hour after the game. It might have been less than that. They were prepping him for surgery.
yeah.
I'm like, damn. Like, I'm not like into like the medical field like that. I don't really know a whole lot when it comes to like sports injuries or anything like that. I didn't realize just how fast they had to get him into
Yes.
surgery. I didn't realize
Yes.
that initially.
No, it was huge. It's one of those moments where like every minute, every second matters.
Yeah.
Especially with leg injuries like that. You need to just make sure that you can get that thing stabilized and get that thing ready. When it's a break, that was a huge break. They got to
He's
get that thing. Yeah.
He's probably still in Dallas, I would assume. Like
Yeah, I
just
think they
for
said he was in Dallas for the week, for the initial just recovery, surgery, waiting, so they could get
yes.
him at least,
So he's just kind of stuck there, and then they'll get him up to
right,
Michigan.
right. I mean, he would have been. It was he would have been either in a hospital bed in Michigan or a hospital bed in Detroit. So,
Yeah.
um, obviously,
Oh,
if you're gonna,
you mean Dallas, right?
did I say Dallas? I meant to say Dallas. I said
Yeah.
Michigan. Nice.
Yeah, Michigan
Um,
or Detroit.
my college football mind is
It's
just too
fine.
much. But so he's in Dallas. I know Dallas has good medical stuff. So, um, it seemed like he will make. They say he'll make a full recovery. So
Yeah.
that's good. We hope he can be back to the star rushing edge that he can be because he's a guy that
Yeah.
can be a defensive player of the year. When he's
He was
good,
on pace for it.
he was. He really
He was
was.
on pace for it, man.
He was having such a good year. This
Yeah.
Tampa game.
Sucks.
I mean, wow, what a player. Just really hope he kind of, this is just a setback and not something we think about for the next 10 years with him because he could be a Hall of Famer, best really defensive end the Lions have ever had.
Mhm.
He could be that kind of guy. So we hope that. But um, I just want to get that out of the way before I just completely smoke the Dallas
Yeah, go
Cowboys.
ahead.
Thoughts up to Aiden Hutchinson. 9 points for the Dallas Cowboys. The Lions, I feel like that's the only thing you really talk about with them. They look great. They have a great running back, a great quarterback. They have a great we know how good the Lions are. We know how good the Lions are. But my goodness, the
Remember
Dallas
last
Cowboys.
year? Remember last year when Dallas in the regular season was looking like one of the best teams in the NFL? And I came on here and I told you I'm not buying a single second of it. They are an
Yeah.
accident waiting to happen. Just watch. I am telling you, this team is not good. And then a few weeks later, they get blown out by the Green Bay Packers in the playoffs.
Yeah, really bad.
They are an embarrassment. They are strictly an embarrassment. They are 0-3 at home. I saw this stat, I could not believe it. The Dallas Cowboys had 9 scoring drives. There were 9 drives that they could have scored any points, and they came out of there with 9 points.
Yep.
Do you understand how embarrassing that in front of your own crowd and Detroit? And here's the thing: when Aiden Hutchinson got injured, they were still sacking him. They
Yeah.
were still sacking him. Like it's embarrassing. It's just embarrassing.
You mentioned the home crowd,
Yeah.
the home stadium, and I'm glad you did. Because when we talk about the Dallas Cowboys, what I love talking about with the Dallas Cowboys. And that is a $1.3 billion stadium. $1.3 billion went into that stadium. Um, just inflation adjusted costs according to Google's AI overview. I don't know how much I trust you, but it's a $2 billion stadium. $2 billion. Wrap your head around $2 billion.
I
You
can't.
could take every human being that we know, and we will not collectively add up to $1 billion. And I don't care if you know a rich guy. We're not adding up to $2 billion. It's not a jab on us. It's just absurd how much money that is. That was the stadium.
Yeah.
Forget Jerry's net worth at this point. Forget how much the Dallas Cowboys are worth. Forget the Dallas Cowboys being the premier franchise in all of football. The Dallas Cowboys aren't just this isn't the Cleveland Browns. This isn't even the Baltimore Ravens. This isn't any of those franchises. I'm not saying that. I didn't bring up the Ravens to knock them. They beat the Cowboys. But we look at the Ravens as one of the most successful franchises in football right now. Right?
Right.
They're great. They're winning football games. But in terms of the brand recognition, the notoriety,
Right.
they don't even hold a candle to
To
the
the Dallas Cow.
Dallas Cowboys. Even the Kansas City Chiefs before
They
Mahomes,
are they are literally called America's team.
they're the world's team at this point in terms of how popular they are. When
Come
you think
on.
of football in America, you think of the Dallas
The
Cowboys.
Dallas Cowboys.
And the fact that it's gone on for this long, that they are still, I have lived a whole, full, complete life. Not really, as much as a 23-year-old can, right? I have gone through elementary school. I have gone through high school. I've gone through college. I have been working in the post college world for a year and a half now. And I have never seen the Dallas Cowboys in an NFC Championship game. win an NFC Championship game.
Here's the other problem I have, and it really doesn't have much to do with it. It has something to do with the team. So like this is gonna be very hypocritical of me talking here on a podcast with you about sports, but you and I are not professional athletes, you
Right.
know. We report on sports. We like to discuss the news and have a conversation about this. What I highly dislike is the fact that after getting blown out by 40, my star edge rusher, Micah Parsons, hops on a podcast with a guy on the Philadelphia Eagles, their rival, and talking about how bad they are. I I don't know if McCarthy's okay with it. Jerry Jones even comprehends what a podcast is. I don't know what the deal is there, but that that just tells me you don't take this as seriously as everyone else does. I don't care how good you are. I don't think you take this as seriously as everybody else does. Like that is ridiculous to me. That is embarrassing. And honestly, like I feel like there needs to be like some sort of like I don't want to say disciplinary actions. You know, he's a grown man. He could do whatever he wants. But that is just so embarrassing that you got blown out by 40, and here you are on a podcast talking about how bad you guys are. Your own team with
Yep.
your rival, with a guy on your rival team. What happened to rivalries? What happened to competitiveness? What happened? It's like you don't care. Like it's one thing to say that, you know, I understand how talented Micah Parsons is. I understand how talented the talent that he brings to the Dallas Cowboys. But when I see you doing that, I have to question how seriously do you realize, how much do you realize what's going on here?
They
How
don't.
much can you comprehend? Because this doesn't make any sense to me why you would even consider doing this. That doesn't make any sense. I hate that.
You would compare the Dallas Cowboys to the New York Yankees in terms of franchises, right?
Oh, in terms of okay, I'm about to say like what? I'm about to say
You would
they're two
compare
games
them
away.
to, but you would compare if when you the
In terms
Yankees,
of popularity,
the Yankees
yes.
of football are the Dallas Cowboys,
In terms of popularity, I see what you're saying. Yes,
right?
I would say that.
But even just in terms of expected success, right? It's the Dallas Cowboys. I know they've been terrible and have. I mean, this team has made the playoffs year after year, right? When the Dallas Cowboys were going 8-8, that was a failure. Right? You look at the Yankees; they missed the playoffs one year, a single
Yes,
year, and it
yes,
is the biggest failure the franchise has had. Okay, let's go get Juan Soto.
yes.
The Dallas Cowboys lose in the postseason in heart crushing fashion every single year. You know what Jerry Jones does? You know how long they hung on to Jason Garrett?
I know
You
the
know,
answer.
I mean, I think the answer is obvious. I'm not really asking this question like you don't know it.
They do nothing
They
every
don't do
year.
anything about it. They just sit there and watch it because the thing is, Jerry knows. What the worst thing about Jerry is, and maybe not the worst thing. I don't know if that, whatever the word you want to use is. The most confusing thing about Jerry is he knows how to win Super Bowls. He's
Yes, he
done,
does.
he's done this before. He's one of the most prolific owners in the history of sports. This Dallas Cowboys team was one of the best teams in football in the 90s, the
They
80s.
ran it. They ran the
They
90s.
ran football. And ever since then, we still were supposed to respect them the same. We're still supposed to think that they're still the Yankees of football. We're still supposed to view them as a premier franchise in, well, sports, right? Why anymore? I think even Cowboys fans have given up on that. There's no reason to. The Dallas Cowboys are a mess. The Dallas Cowboys aren't even the best franchise in Texas right now.
I
What do you do? What do? You do what you should have did 15 years ago. You sell the team. You give up control at the very least.
I hope they selling the team. Okay, here's what I think they should do, and I feel like if Cowboys fans are listening to this, they are not gonna want to hear this. I'm gonna give you the options here, okay?
Okay.
Because what let's just go to what they have done, okay? So I feel like trading your best assets for draft picks is the best thing you could do. Right? You don't have any money. Okay, you don't. I know you try to say that you do. You don't. this past free agency was evident of that. You don't have any money to spend.
Right.
You used all your money on extending Dak Prescott. Okay, he's locked in. Okay, you can't do anything with that. You used the rest of your money on CeeDee Lamb, locked in. Can't do anything about that. There's another player who is very good, one of the best players at his position, that I don't believe they have paid him yet. Yet. I think you should explore trading Micah Parsons.
Yeah, why not?
I think you should explore trading him. And I know people are gonna look at that and be like, whoa, like that is, I don't know about that. I would look at Micah Parsons and be like, listen, if a team, again, same deal as like Myles Garrett with the Browns, actually pretty similar. I would say
Right.
if a team is offering me a first round pick and a second round pick the next year and maybe like a player for Micah Parsons, and I don't have to worry about paying him, okay, yeah, I'll do that. Because
Yeah.
like, let's be real, he was, last I checked, Micah Parsons was on the field on Sunday. He was on the field. They got blown out by 40. They got blown out by 40.
Doesn't
The
change
best
much.
defensive, one of the best defensive players in the league is on your team, and you still got blown out by 40.
Yep.
What difference does it? How worse can it get if he's not on the team? Who cares?
Yeah.
I don't understand why you're not even exploring that option here. Because if you extend Micah Parsons, make him like the highest paid edge rusher in the league, I don't know. I can't say for sure. Oh yeah, the Dallas Cowboys are a better team. Nothing's changed. Nothing would have changed at all. They be nothing to me. They be nothing.
Let's look at their next few games because it's
Go
interesting.
ahead.
Sunday Night Football on the road in San Francisco.
Ooh,
Midday game in November in Atlanta. Hosting the Philadelphia Eagles. Hosting the Texans in prime time, 8:15. On the road against the Commanders, Thanksgiving. Or not, that's not Thanksgiving, that's Sunday. Then you have a short week hosting the Giants on Thanksgiving. I see 5 losses, Joel.
I don't think they make the playoffs.
I see 5 losses right there.
I don't like. I literally do not see them making the playoffs at all. Do they? I hope they do. Do they have their first round pick this year?
I don't see why they wouldn't.
Because I don't know if they made a trade or not. You need that pick. You need everything that you could possibly have. Like you need to. They are at the point where there is zero room for error.
Yeah.
The Commanders look like the best team in that division right now. The Giants right now are a very good or just decent quarterback away from being a pretty good team.
Right.
Philly, I don't know what's going on with them, but Dallas right now, you are falling towards the bottom of the division. You need to do something. You want to know why nothing has changed for you? Because you haven't done anything. You haven't done anything. It's stupid. It's ridiculous to me. They think trading for Brandon Cooks is going to really do anything.
No.
They think, Cavante Turpin, Jalen Tolbert, these guys are going to do anything for you. They're not going to do anything for you. I'm sorry, but they made Rico Dowdle the running back one. Oh, don't worry. We're going to re-sign Ezekiel Elliott. He's coming back. I didn't even know he was on the team until Sunday. Like, it's ridiculous. It's embarrassing. And quite honestly, I think if you were to trade your top asset right now and get more picks for him, I think you'd be in a much better situation than you would be if you just stay content with what you've been doing, what you have been doing for the past 15 years.
Yeah. And just look at their wins too. They beat the Cleveland Browns.
Cool.
The Giants.
Cool.
By 5.
They're terrible. And
by
they
5.
almost lost. They almost lost that game.
The Steelers by 3.
Cool. The Steelers have one of the worst offenses in football, and they still won.
Right. They still won and put up 20 points. It's the thing about the Dallas Cowboys because we don't see a path to them really improving because the Cowboys have been stuck in this moment of, oh, we're never going to rebuild. We will never go through a rebuild because of who we are. Your fans have lost the allure of Dallas Cowboy football.
What are you?
Your fans have completely given up on the allure of Dallas Cowboy football. I don't see why you can't rebuild at this point. But now you have all this money locked up into players like CeeDee Lamb, Dak Prescott that you can't trade them. So you're stuck trying to win, trying to win, trying to win, and you have to draft so well to figure out a path to winning. It is wild. 3-3. Yes, the season isn't over, but again, you look at who's left on the schedule. It's tough. I don't know. I've just given up on the Dallas Cowboys. There's no reason to take them seriously anymore. Um, and we're gonna have a conversation on who's the premier franchise of football at this point.
I I think they should have never given Dak that much money. I don't think they should have ever done that
But what does that change?
because
What was with how they're set up? That doesn't even change much. Even if you don't give
well,
Dak the money, maybe you go get a new quarterback, right? The Dallas Cowboys are still in the same spot. Whether you if you give them if you gave this Dallas Cowboys team Josh Allen, they're still in the same spot. They don't have
I don't
line
know.
depth. They don't have defensive depth. Their secondary has been suspect, and they keep trading. After CD Lamb, what's there? Cavante Turpin's been their best player.
Yeah. I don't know what's going on with CD Lamb, if I'm being completely honest. I don't know what's going on with him.
I don't know either.
Like
He's such a great player, but obviously
his
him and Dak have
connection
been.
between that has not been the same.
It's not. Maybe the money messes it up, but we know clearly CD is still on the sideline. It's not like CD is showing no passion, no emotion. He's clearly trying to get the best out of Dak Prescott, get the best out of his quarterback, but it's just not there. We just don't
I was
see it.
what I was watching ESPN and someone mentioned like, outside of the Carolina Panthers, is it fair to say that the Dallas Cowboys are one of the worst teams in the league? And I was like, man, the fact that I even have to think about that is like
Right.
that's insane.
Where do you go? I mean, or it's they're up there with Cincinnati in terms of disappointments so
Yeah.
far. I think the Bengals will be okay, but even if you look at a team like the Bengals, you see a path. You
Yeah,
see a
there is a
path to
path.
winning.
There is
I
a
don't see a
path.
path for the Dallas Cowboys besides the
I
rest of
see
the
zero.
division being terrible.
I see zero path.
There's no path. The amount of times also the Cowboys, even just the past 10 years, right? How bad the NFC East used to be. They used to capitalize on that.
They used to run that conference.
Barely.
They
There were races where 9-7 would win you a division.
yeah.
And the NFC East would get in, and Dallas would make the playoffs every year. They would host a playoff game. I mean, not every year because it wasn't a repeat champion for a very long time, but every other year they'd probably win the division, find a way
Who
to make the playoffs.
who do they play on Thanksgiving?
The
Is it the Giants?
Giants,
That is going to be a very, very interesting game.
yeah.
That's going to be a very
Well, with
interesting.
how good the Giants defenses look, I think that I have family who are Cowboys fans, and
Uh-huh.
we usually go to their house for Thanksgiving, and I wouldn't be surprised if they turned the game off
I'm
because
gonna
that
be in
that might be a 7-3 game.
I'm gonna be in California when
There you
that
go.
game happens for Thanksgiving. I'm gonna be in California visiting family, but
The early
that's
football game.
yeah, that's gonna be what time is that game Eastern time?
I think it's a 1 o'clock game.
Oh yeah, so that game's gonna be like at 10 in the morning.
I'll confirm for you. Yeah, that'll be what? Yeah, that'll be it's a 1 o'clock. Yeah, Cowboys schedule for Thanksgiving.
Yeah, so
Um.
I'm gonna
Oh, they
wake
gave them
up and see.
4:30. They gave them 4:30.
Oh, it's for so 1:30.
They
Okay,
gave them
all
the
right.
dinner spot.
So I get the 1 o'clock game. Okay, cool. All right.
Yeah. I don't know the Thanksgiving schedule this year. I'm actually curious on Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving, I
I,
know we got Halloween, but it's coming up, guys.
yeah, it's approaching very fast. That's why
It's
I'm
sneaking
looking at
up,
that schedule like, oh, you know what? Might have to look at that.
right? Because right after Election Day, it is going to get interesting
Yeah.
because Thanksgiving always sneaks up on you on election year. It's Bears Lions, it's Giants Cowboys, it's Dolphins Packers as the night game.
Dolphins Packers. Ew.
Wow.
Oh
I
my
mean that would have
god.
been a very good game if we had
I mean,
allocated.
it depends. It depends if Tua's playing. I don't know. I
If he
don't know
does
what's going on.
play, that's a good football game.
If Tua's playing, that's a good game.
If he's playing in healthy, that's a good football game because I
What
don't
was
care if
what
he's
was the
playing. I
first?
care if he's healthy.
What was the first one?
The Bears and Lions.
Okay, that should be a good
We'll
game
watch Caleb.
overall.
That's a good game. We get to watch Caleb. Big NFC
Caleb.
North
Oh
guy.
yeah. Oh, that's a good game. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Okay.
all right.
We get a good one. Before dinner, before everyone
Yeah.
sits down and has their Thanksgiving turkey.
Oh, you should
Um,
have made that the night game. Are you kidding me?
flex it at this point. I don't care.
Blair Bears Lions. That would have been
Flex it.
awesome.
No, I think Packers Dolphins will be fine. I mean, again, I know McDaniel said Tua is going to come back this season. They said that they don't know when, but
I
they
don't.
said they
Yeah.
expect him to play again this season, which that's a whole other discussion. Um, but we'll figure that out when that happens. We'll see what
Figure it
happens
out
when he
when it
comes
happens.
back. That's it's all just abject conjecture and theories of what is going to happen and how he's going to come back, when he's going to come back. We don't know.
Plenty of
Um,
time left in the football season, though.
it's a young season. I feel like this is an interesting season, right? Because I feel like we have been talking It feels like it's week 16, the way that a lot of people have been talking about the season.
We are, I think we are a third of the way done with the regular season.
Yeah.
We're a third of the way done.
Right. But the way people are talking about it feels like it's week 15, 16. It
Yeah.
feels like the playoffs start tomorrow because everybody's kind of
feel,
sold on everybody yet by now.
your attitude changes fast because I remember the first, in week 2, I was saying the Saints are the best team in football. The Saints are so freaking good. The Saints are amazing, and now the Saints are 2-4.
I will say Spencer Rattler looked good. Spencer Rattler actually looked pretty.
He looked okay. Honestly, I didn't think. Listen, he was what, a 4th-round rookie or something like that.
Young rookie, South Carolina, had his troubles.
Come on,
and enters the NFL and has to start for Derek Carr.
Made some good throws. I thought
they were winning that game. He made some mistakes, and Baker capitalized. And
come on, your defense allowed 51 points. So what are you supposed to do?
You put up 27 points, you're going to win most football games. You're going to beat the Dallas Cowboys.
What are you going to do? It is what it is.
So if you look at the Saints' future, they might be okay with Spencer Rattler. It was the weirdest Oklahoma quarterback matchup we've ever seen.
Oh, yeah.
Spencer Rattler versus Baker
Mayfield. I forgot he was a Sooner.
He was a Sooner.
I forgot about that.
For a year and some change. And then Caleb came in. And the second we recruited Caleb, I said, okay, we should start Caleb. Week 0, start Caleb. That was always the thing. I was big on Caleb since high school. So
we should be good games though.
They're good games. But we got a while to go before the turkey gets carved. All right. We haven't even put on our costumes yet. And I don't know what I'm gonna be. We'll see. Maybe I'll just I know if I dress up as Jerry Jones, I'll scare you. So we'll have a scare.
Oh no.
Dress up as a Dallas Cowboy. We'll be scary. We'll be tough.
Oh no, he's Jerry Jones. He's not gonna do anything.
He's just gonna stand there.
he's just standing there.
I will say I have always respected how long Jerry Jones has stayed in the game, has stuck around football.
Jesus, how old is he?
He's 82.
Oh my God.
He's the general manager. Imagine you remove the ownership part of it. If you're general manager of it for the Giants is 82, you'd probably be asking questions.
Oh God.
Because he's the GM. He controls all the football moves. It's not like he's just some owner. It's not like the Haslams. Right.
He's the GM as well, pretty much.
He is the he is not pretty. He is the GM.
No, he is. Yeah,
he is the literal general manager. So, I don't see a path where Dallas gets good until that ends. And maybe Jerry will do what's best for the football team and step down next year, but we'll see. I don't know. I really don't know. Joel, any final thoughts on this week? Whatever week it is. It was week 6.
We're approaching week 7.
So week 6.
Tomorrow is what? Saints. Who?
Saints have a short week.
Saints play tomorrow.
Oh man,
I know the Saints play.
Today is Wednesday. I will not be watching. Saints Broncos.
Okay, get ready for some Bo Nix Spencer Rattler action tomorrow.
Bo Nix versus Spencer Rattler.
Yeah, that's gonna be the matchup.
If you told me that was an Oklahoma playoff game 4 years ago, I'd say, you know what, I can see it. But
yeah,
even though Bo Nix was at Auburn back then, and Spencer Rattler was at Oklahoma.
Let's go. Can't wait.
It was almost a South Carolina Auburn matchup. Yeah, it might have been. I don't remember.
Yeah.
Bo Nix versus Spencer Rattler coming up Thursday night, 8:15. Get your popcorn. Make sure to cancel all your plans for Saints and Broncos, obviously. Joel, thank you for coming on. Obviously, we got our, episode 44, 45 now, I think?
I think it's 44. Yeah.
We are approaching episode 50 of Breakdown of Sports.
Can't wait.
Yeah. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for taking the time out of your day, night, morning, evening, all the above. You know how I talk. To tune into this podcast of us talking about the funny things of sports and also some cool stuff, some serious stuff, all the above. Joel, it has been fun, and we will see you another time.
Later.